These are the 7 stages of wealth. What stage are you at? Stage 1, negative. If you're relying on government assistance or on credit cards in order to just pay the bills, then you are in stage 1. It is not a good place to be. On each one of these stages, we'll give some tips on how to go to the next stage and also some traps to avoid along the way. But if you are in this stage, there's a few things you can do. The first step to move out of this is to just write down an actual budget, a plan of where you want to go, because clearly what you're doing is not working. So you need to make some drastic changes. So write out a physical budget, make a plan on how to get out of it, and then start taking action on that plan. Frugal living, cutting absolutely everything out that is not a necessity. And a lot of us lie on what's an actual necessity. McDonald's, not a necessity. A new iPhone, new pair of sneakers, not a necessity. So set a clear written goal, start some type of side hustle. We'll get into more on side hustles in the next one, but clearly you don't have enough money at this point and you need to earn more money as soon as humanly possible. And then start with self-education about money. Read as many books as you can, go to the library, get free books, watch them on YouTube, listen to podcasts, that's free. Subscribe to YouTube channels like this one because that's also free and we're trying to hit 500,000 by the end of the year. And if we do, I'll be giving away $1,000 to a random subscriber. So that's something you could do. Stage 2, self-sufficiency. I feel like this is where like 60% of Americans are, honestly, of this living paycheck to paycheck. You're not really on government assistance, but you're not really thriving. You're no longer relying on mom and dad to pay some of your bills, but things are tight. At this stage, again, you're gonna need to continue frugal living. You might wanna do things, cutting out subscriptions, cooking at home, all the things I talk about in a lot of videos. Another thing you could do at this stage is start saving up to move to a cheaper place. Again, if you wanna get to some of these later stages, you're gonna need to make some type of sacrifices. And if you're living paycheck to paycheck, clearly your expenses are too high and you need to find some way of lowering them. And then also you need to start an emergency fund. 42% of Americans have less than $1,000 in their savings as of 2022. The average emergency is like $1,400. So if you don't want to go back to stage 1, you got to start an emergency fund. In fact, only 28% of Americans can last 3 months just living off their emergency fund. So if you have a 3-month emergency fund, you're better off than like 70% of Americans. Crazy. And the stress levels just go down so much.
Another great way to reduce your stress levels is to lower as many fixed expenses as you possibly can. A great way to get started with that is with a partner of mine, Mint Mobile.
Mint Mobile is exactly what I use, and it is premium wireless at a fraction of what I was paying before, like a lot cheaper. And it's built on the nation's largest 5G network, so it's not like crappy service. It's really good, and it starts at just $15 a month. It's almost like they don't hate us.
We don't hate you.
Which I can't say for the other cell phone companies. Seem like bad people. Anyways, how they're able to keep prices so low is because they don't have overhead. Everything's online, direct to you and me. They just send you a chip, you chuck it into your phone. It's super simple. They have flexible plans, and you just bring your own phone, you bring your own everything. So if you want to save some money and start only paying $15 a month, you can go to mintmobile.com/GabeBult or use the link down in the description. Stage 3, breathing room. Maybe you have your emergency fund set up a little bit now. You're not living paycheck to paycheck. You're actually putting something towards investing. You have some financial goals. You're working towards them. You've got that emergency fund coming in. Your stress levels are down a little bit, but this is where a lot of people get trapped. In fact, 31% of working Americans making more than $100,000 a year are still living paycheck to paycheck. So it's super important not to get stuck here, not to get too lenient and start spending more money and enjoying yourself because, hey, we're at stage 3, we're out of it, we're not as stressed anymore, because you'll never get to those later stages where you have true freedom. You'll be able to travel, enjoy your life more. And those stages are not extremely hard to get to. They just take a little bit of self-control, and it's not actually terribly difficult if you know the path that you're on. A couple of traps to look out at this point would be monthly payments. Maybe you finally have better credit and you can afford to get a new car, and then you have payments for the next 7 years, which doesn't allow you to approve for a home. The interest is just gonna absolutely kill you, but you said you have money now. You feel like these little payments of $20 a month for this, $50 a month for that, it's not really a big deal, but those really add up. This is also where lifestyle inflation starts to creep in. You're finally maybe earning more money, or you're just not in debt and you feel like, hey, treat myself a little bit, you know, proud of me. Anyways, a couple of things to do from this stage to move up to the next one is keep an at least 15% savings rate and automate that, whether it's going into savings or investing. Make it automatic. In fact, 21% of Americans don't save any of their annual income, and 20% save less than 5%. Another 28% only save 6 to 10%. So if you can get to a 15% plus savings rate, you're gonna be in the top 16% of Americans. This is huge. Savings rate is so important. It's not about how much you make, it's about how much you keep. Stage 4, stability. At this level, you're not really worried about if you leave your job because you've got a couple month emergency fund. You're not too worried if you have to move to a different town because you can afford a down payment. For us, it took us a couple years to get here, but we saved up enough money to get our first house hack, which was like my first real investment. This might also be when you can really actually focus on getting a higher paying job. You can invest into yourself, and that will really give you exponential growth. If you can maybe invest a little bit of money into some different courses or some type of knowledge that will earn you more money, it's literally the best investment you can make. A couple things to avoid here would be getting comfortable and lazy. This happens at pretty much every stage. As you make more, you start to spend more. Avoid buying too much house that you can't afford or too nice of apartment that you can't afford. It will generally be your biggest expense and can really hold you back in life. And don't get a new car. For the love of pizza, please don't get a new car. It loses like 18% as soon as you drive it off the lot, but you finally want to show off to your friends and have that nice car you've always thought about. Now is not the time. It'll be in a couple stages. Chill out. At this stage, you should have all of your debt paid off besides anything that's under like 3 to 5% probably. You should have at least a 3 to 6 month emergency fund. You should be aiming for a 25% or higher savings rate. And if you're not in that 15 to 25%, either your income is too low or your expenses are too high and you fell into one of those traps I just talked about. You also need to hone in on your investment strategy at this point. You actually have some real money now that you can start investing. So are you gonna start real estate investing? For me, that's what I did. I saved up and bought my first house hack. Are you gonna open up a Roth IRA, start investing into that? Or are you gonna start your own business? Are you gonna work on your career? How are you gonna invest? And do you have like a written out plan on what you're gonna do so that you're not dying on the Walmart floor? Stage 5, wealth building. So this is the point where you got some money now. You might have like a 2-year emergency fund. So you can take a year off work at this point if you want to. You might have a couple income streams from your investments. You get offered a job that pays 50% less, but has the chance of earning 5 times more, then you can take that job. Whereas people in the stages before this, they couldn't take that opportunity. So actually at this point, you're in a position where you can get lucky. You can take these opportunities that you couldn't take before because you have a little bit of financial freedom, a little bit of leeway. You're also realizing right now that your time is super valuable, so you're using it accordingly. You want to start looking for different income streams and thinking about how you can reach financial independence early. Maybe you can retire in your 20s, 30s, or 40s by some of the different strategies that I talk about in a lot of different videos. At this point, a couple of traps. Things you want to avoid is investing in things you don't understand, randomly picking stocks, throwing money in crypto, buying a rental with zero experience, or not reading a book, flexing, buying a new house, new car, more than you can afford. Things to shoot for would be investing in real estate or some type of business, some form of cash flow. Aim for a 50% savings rate. Sounds like a lot, 100% doable. I did it for years. If you want to go that path, you could get a second house hack. This is when I got my second house hack. Don't cut your entertainment budget. This is where I would add in back your entertainment budget if you cut that down before, because that's usually about 5% of people's budget, but it leads to like most of the happiness. So enjoy your life now without spending tens of thousands of dollars on vacations. You can have a good time for pretty cheap. And at this point, you can get a car that doesn't hurt you. Level 6 is financial independence. At this point, you have different income streams that you can live off of those income streams or your investments, whether it's stocks or whatever you have, pretty much indefinitely. It's a great, fun, relaxing place to be. You can travel now if you want to. You can donate your time. You can start a business, write a book, do pretty much whatever you want to do at this stage. It's a good time. There's actually a couple levels inside of this stage. There's barista fire, which is where maybe you work 10, 20 hours a week doing a job you like, and that gives you 10, 20, 30K a year. And then the rest of it is off your investments because you didn't totally make it to financial independence, but it's still a pretty chill lifestyle. Next, you'd have lean fire, where if you live extremely frugally, maybe 25, 30, 40K a year, your investments would cover all that. And then there's like the third stage inside of this stage, which is like fat fire, where you have some pretty decent money coming in. You probably have 100K plus coming in every year from different investments, different income streams. It's a pretty cool place to be, but it is not the next level, which is stage 7. Stage 7 is the NBA. This is abundant wealth. I would categorize this as 10 million plus. You pretty much have more money than you'll ever need. You don't have to worry about it. You don't look at price tags when you go to buy a car. Money is not really something that you think about. And I'm definitely not here yet, but from all the people I've talked to who have gotten there, there's pretty much a few ways to do it. You're not going to get there through investing 15% of your paycheck into the stock market. 100% not going to happen unless you're earning like millions of dollars a year. What will get you there is starting a business, inventing a product, maybe real estate, maybe different types of investments, whether that's real estate investing or something like that. But for the most part, it's going to be some type of business creation and then either selling that or like keeping it running, 4-hour work week in it. That's stage 7. That's a goal for me. I'm currently at like mid stage 6 right now. What stage are you at? Let me know down in the comments.
By the way, I think this is a good time to mention that I also have a course on financial minimalism. I just dropped the price down from $199 to $69 till the end of the year because I want more people to go through it. The goal of this was to give you all the tools and everything you need to reach financial independence, all of the knowledge that I've gotten over the past like 8 years, condensed down as much as humanly possible. There's a money back guarantee where if you go through the entire course and you don't save or make the amount of money that the course costs, just return it, no questions asked. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next week.